Dear students, today I will discuss one result or theorem, that is to prove the angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection using Huygens principle. So in the last class just I wrote the heading and I have drawn the diagram, but by the time I gave the proof now it was off. Okay, so today I will continue this derivation, that is to prove angle of reflection equal to angle of incidence. There is nothing but the law of reflection. There are two laws of reflection. One is angle of reflection is equal to angle of incidence, and the other is the incident ray, normal drawn at the point of incidence, and the reflected ray. All three lie in the same plane. So these are the two laws of reflection. Here we are proving the first law, that is angle of reflection is equal to angle of incidence. So firstly you have to draw a diagram. Normally in physics derivations, there we need to use one diagram. So with the reference to the diagram we are writing the steps, or we are giving the proof. Okay, firstly I will consider this is the plane mirror. Okay, this is the plane mirror surface, plane surface mirror. It is surface, not a line actually. It is the cross section of that mirror. Okay, now I draw this the incident ray like this. These are the two rays, and this is one wavefront. I'll assume this is the wavefront which is incident at an angle. The angle of incidence is this. This is the angle of incidence I. Okay. Now the reflected ray. This is the angle of incidence. Okay. The reflected ray will go this way. Okay. I will take little lesser angle. Okay. Otherwise, okay. So this is the incident ray on the surface. Now what happens, the reflected ray will go at the same angle. That's what we have to prove actually. This is the incidence angle, the angle of reflection. Okay, so this is the incident wavefront. Incident wavefront. So that is the AB. AB is the incident wavefront. This is the wavefront, plane surface. This is the plane wavefront incident on the surface. Okay, on the mirror M dash. Okay, now the reflected wavefront will go this way with the angle of reflection, say R. Reflected wavefront will go this way. Okay, this is the reflected wavefront, and okay, this is the reflected. So then you have to take the wavefront. Reflected wavefront is perpendicular to the ray. Reflected wavefront you have to take perpendicular to the ray. So what happens, you see, this is the reflected wavefront. Reflected wavefront. So always a wavefront and ray must be perpendicular. Wavefront and ray must be perpendicular. So this is the ray directed towards the surface, that is incident ray, and this AB. AB is the surface, it is plane wavefront, incident plane wavefront, plane. Whereas the reflected wavefront is also plane wavefront, so that I will take as CD. Okay. So this is the reflected wavefront. CD is not a line, it looks like a triangle here in the diagram. It is cross section, I said. It is the plane surface. It is the plane surface like this. So CD is the reflected wavefront. Wavefront incident and reflected wavefront. Okay. See, when the wavefront touches the point A on the surface, dash, the wavefront, another portion of the wavefront is at the point B. Okay. So in a time tau, okay, in a time tau, the wavefront travels a distance BC. In a time tau, wavefront travels a distance BC. Travels a distance BC. Okay, so therefore BC equal to V tau, where V is the velocity or speed of the wave. Speed of wave or velocity of wave. Okay, speed of wave or velocity of wave. Next, so in a time tau, the wavefront travels from B to C. At the same time, the wavefront travels from A to D reflection, because you see the wavefront, one portion of the wavefront is touched already A, but the other portion is at B, so it has to go and meet the surface, then has to reflect this way. Okay, so now this we draw one arc like this. It is not arc actually, it is the spherical wavefront originated from the point A. So tangent to that spherical wavefront, we get the wavelets, we get the new wavefront CD. Spherical wavelets will get. So tangential surface to that new wavelets, secondary wavelets, we get the new wavefront CD. So we can say CD is the, so this is AB, okay. So AB is the incident plane wavefront. Incident plane wavefront. Whereas CD, okay, so is the reflected plane wavefront. Reflected plane wavefront. CD is the reflected plane wavefront. Okay, so there is one arc, and see the angles. This is the angle of incidence. This is the angle of reflection. This is the normal. Okay, remember always the angle of incidence is with respect to the incident ray and the normal. Angle of incidence is angle between the incident ray and the normal. So this is the incident ray, and the angle with respect to normal and this incident ray, that is angle of incidence. Angle of reflection, this incident ray reflected, so angle between the reflected ray and the normal. Okay, that is the angle of reflection. Okay, now this is the point D here on the wavefront, and this is the point C. Okay, at the surface dash. So dash is the reflecting surface. Reflecting surface. Reflecting surface is it may be a mirror also. Reflecting surface, it is a mirror. Okay. Now what we have to prove? Angle I equal to R. Okay. So just like that, you cannot say, we don't know whether it is equal or not. You have to prove it. So this is angle I. Okay, this is angle I. So what is this angle? Angle with respect to normal and the incident ray is I. Okay. Angle between AB and the normal. Angle between the AB and the normal is 90 minus I. Angle drawn from this normal to surface AB, plane wavefront AB, is 90 minus I. So this angle again, angle BAC is I. Angle BAC is I. Okay, so angle BAC is I. Then next, see, this angle is R. This angle is R. Reflected wavefront AD and this normal. That angle between AD and normal is R. So the angle BAC. Angle BAC is 90 minus R. Okay. Angle BAC equal to 90 degree minus R. Angle BAC equal to 90 degree minus R. Fine. Then this is 90 degree here. Okay, one angle of the triangle is 90 degree and one angle is 90 minus R. So this angle must be equal to R. So this is the thing you have to remember in the figure. So angle BAC is I, which is angle of incidence, and in the triangle angle DCA, angle DCA is this angle, that is equal to R. That much you have to write first in the figure. Then we have to prove. Okay, so angle BAC equal to I in the figure, angle DCA, this angle equal to R from the figure we get. Now we have to prove that angle I and R in the two triangles are equal. To prove the two angles are equal in two triangles, we have to prove the two triangles are congruent. We have to prove that the two triangles are congruent. So here in the figure, so triangle ABC and triangle CDA. We are comparing the two triangles, triangle ABC and triangle CDA. We are comparing those two triangles. So in that, one angle 90 degree here, this another triangle angle is of 90. AC and AC common. Okay. Then distance traveled by the light B to C is how much? V into tau. This distance equal to V tau. V tau, because with the speed light travels is V in this medium. In a time tau, the distance traveled equal to speed into time. Distance traveled equal to speed into time. Therefore, BC equal to V tau. Now, what is AD? In the same time duration, say when wavefront is at B, the other portion of the wavefront is A. So now here the wavefront BC is going this way. The wavefront AB is traveling this way. So it is going this way. The reflected wavefront will go. So in the time, how much time light takes B to C? Same time A to D. Speed is same. So therefore AD is also V tau. Okay. So therefore in a time tau light travels from B to C. The same time light travels from A to D. So therefore the time taken by the light to travel from B to C and A to D is same, that is tau. Okay. Therefore in the figure, in triangle, okay, I can write or in the figure I can write BC equal to V tau, and also I can write AD is also V tau. AD is also V tau. So this is what we can understand from the figure. Now we have to prove congruency. So let us write the triangles. So in triangle ABC, and in triangle ABC we are comparing with the CDA. Corresponding only you have to take. Corresponding to A here it is C. Corresponding to B here it is D. Okay. So correct C, the point is A. So in triangle ABC and triangle CDA, what and all are equal? BC and AD are equal. Okay. BC equal to AD equal to V tau. This is the condition number 1. Then angle ABC, I write here. Angle ABC equal to angle CDA equal to 90 degree. Second condition. Okay, angle ABC is a right angle because always the wavefront is perpendicular to the ray which is traveling. So CD is the reflected wavefront. Okay, so this CD is the reflected wavefront. CD is the reflected wavefront. Okay, AB is the incident wavefront. Now we can see another comparison, AC. Okay, AC is equal to CA. That is common to the two triangles. Common. It is common to both the triangles. AC equal to CA. AC in this first triangle, and in the triangle CDA we take CA. AC equal to CA, common side. So what happens? According to the RHS theorem, yeah, right angled hypotenuse side. Okay. So we can understand the figure here like this also. So this is one triangle. This is another triangle. Okay, so like this. So it is B here, C here, then A here, D here. This is 90 degree here. This is also 90 degree. Okay, so this is equal, and this side equal to this side. Okay, so we can see that the triangle ABC and triangle CDA are congruent. When the two triangles are congruent, we can say the remaining quantities. So in the triangle ABC, angle I, and in the triangle CDA, that is angle R. In the triangle CDA, the angle is R. So that angle I equal to angle R. So therefore we can write triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA. Okay, so that's all about this proving congruency. Therefore, the angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection. How? We prove in this triangle the angles I and R equal. That means I and R in the ray optics part, that is angle of incidence and angle of reflection. So those angles geometrically we got this I is same as this angle. This angle R is equal to this angle. Okay. So simple trick it is I, and this angle between normal and AB is 90 minus I. Again normal is perpendicular to the surface. So this becomes I 90 minus I. Then out of 90 minus I, remaining angle is I. Total is 90 degree. Na? So when two angles are there, one angle is theta, another angle 90 minus theta. If one angle is 90 minus theta, next angle must be theta. So that's the logic. Okay, so then here also. So this angle is R. So this angle is 90 minus R. Angle DAC. Angle DAC is 90 minus R. And this angle 90. So in a triangle, three angles. Sum of three angles equal to 180 degree. So one angle 90 degree. One angle 90 degree. Another angle 90 minus R. That is DAC 90 minus R plus one more angle equal to 180 degree. So how much should be added here? That is R. When R is added, minus R plus R cancel, 90 is 180. That means sum of the triangles, three angles of a triangle equal to 180 degree. So that means this R is equal to this R. Hence, whenever two triangles are congruent, the corresponding quantities. So this angle is equal to this angle. Therefore, R equal to I in the figure. R equal to I or I equal to R. Hence, the law of reflection is verified or proved. Law of reflection is proved here. That is a very important derivation for 3 marks. Okay. In the third main 3 marks question we will ask using Huygens principle. Prove that or show that angle of reflection is equal to angle of incidence. Okay. So then I go to the next topic, that is the behavior of the wavefronts on reflection and refraction. So firstly, okay, behavior of wavefront here. Of wavefront. So behavior of wavefront. So what happens when a wavefront incident on a surface? Okay, so firstly I will take a thin prism. Okay, in a case of thin prism, so a plane wavefront incident like this. A plane wavefront is incident on a thin prism. Okay, so this is the incident plane wavefront. Incident plane wavefront. Now what happens to this plane wavefront incident on a prism? This is the base of the prism. A thin prism. So whenever a plane wavefront incident in case of a prism, see what happens? The wavefront incident, okay, it touches. The lower portion of the wavefront, say, touches here, whereas the upper portion of the wavefront is in air here. It's moving like this. Wavefront is traveling perpendicular to the ray always. So this is the position of the wavefront. Okay, after some time. Now upper portion of the wavefront is in air, lower portion touches the prism. Now we know that light travels slower in the glass. I assume this is a glass prism. Okay, what happens whenever light traveling in the glass is slower, speed of light is lesser in the glass, so it travels slower. So it has to cover from here to here a large distance compared to the upper portion of the wavefront. Compared to the upper portion of the wavefront, the light has to travel a larger distance. Okay. And the bottom portion, lower portion of the prism. So what happens? Gradually the wavefront will be tilted. So the outgoing wavefront may be like this. This is the emergent wavefront, or I can say refracted wavefront. Refracted plane wavefront. The shape of the wavefront is plane. Refracted plane wavefront. So when a plane wavefront is incident on a thin prism, the outgoing wavefront or refracted wavefront or emergent wavefront is also a plane wavefront but tilted. Okay, tilted wavefront we get. Tilted wavefront. Fine. Now, second situation is in the case of a lens. Okay, so in the case of a lens, refraction occurs. We know that. So if it is a plane wavefront incident on a convex lens, Okay, so this is the plane wave front. Plane wave front, this surface. This is the plane wave front incident on a convex lens. Convex lens. What happens to the emergent wave front? Okay, plane wave front. Okay, so the emergent wave front, see, it converges here like this. So it is a spherical wave front. And it is converging at a point called focus. The wave front converges. It is a spherical wave front. After it will converge here and converges to the point called focus, principal focus of the convex lens. So why it converges? Why the wave front is spherical wave front? So the spherical wave front is obtained. Spherical wave front. Spherical wave front is obtained. Okay, so how we get a spherical wave front? Okay, see here, whenever a plane wave front incident on the convex lens, see this is a plane surface incident on a convex surface. It is bulged at the middle and thin at the edges. Thin at the edges. What happens? The middle portion of the wave front touches the lens, so it's start moving inside the lens. So it moves slower. Whereas the upper portion and lower portion of the wave front, okay, other portion outside of the central portion is traveling with the more speed because it is moving in the air. Whereas the middle portion of the wave front, central part of the wave front, is moving inside the glass. It is moving slower. So because of that, the upper portion goes forward, lower portion also goes forward. It's not like upper and lower exactly. If it is a plane surface, you can imagine the lens is curved on all the sides, not only upper and lower. There is a cross section of the convex lens. Okay, so you have to imagine there is a curved lens and a plane wavefront incident like this. So other portion, other than the central part of the wavefront, it is going forward because it is traveling in the air, whereas the middle portion or central part of the wavefront is traveling inside the glass. It moves slower. Inside the glass, the speed is less, so the waves travel slower in the glass, so that the upper and all other portions will advance forward compared to the middle portion or central portion of the wavefront. So therefore, gradually the wavefront will come out at the other portions other than the central part of the lens, so that the shape we get like this, that is a curved wavefront we get. So that is a spherical wavefront. Emergent wavefront is a spherical wavefront. And another case is that when a plane wavefront incident on a concave mirror, okay, so this is the concave mirror, okay. So now a plane wavefront is incident on a concave mirror, okay. So this is the case number 3. This is the first one, second one and third one. Concave mirror case. So first one is thin prism. Second one is convex lens. They may ask particularly, that's why I am writing. So nature of wavefront obtained in a thin prism is plane wavefront but tilted. Nature of wavefront obtained in case of convex lens is spherical wavefront converging at focus F. And in the case of concave mirror, what kind of wavefront is reflected? Here reflected. Here these two refraction. In this reflected. Here it is refracted. In the case of concave mirror, the light undergoes reflection. See again here also the middle portion is advancing forward. The outer portion of the wavefront is already touched the mirror, so that will start reflecting. That will start moving backward. Due to reflection, that portion will start moving backward. So the point when at a time the middle portion of the wavefront touches the mirror, by that time the reflected wavefront already came backward. Okay. So here it will go and meet here, suppose, and this will already has gone and came backward after reflection. So this will be like this. Okay, so this is the position of the new wavefront. Okay, after reflection, like this we get. So this is the dotted line here represents the reflected spherical wavefront. This one, reflected spherical wavefront. Okay, I have drawn solid line only. This is the wavefront. It is a surface actually. Okay, so this is the reflected spherical wavefront. Reflected spherical wavefront, which already shown backward reflection after reflection it is. So it will be simple question. What is the nature of the wavefront obtained in case of thin prism? Whenever a plane wavefront incident, answer is reflected wavefront. Refracted wavefront is a plane wavefront tilted. What is the nature of wavefront obtained in case of convex lens? When a plane wavefront is incident on it, the answer is spherical wavefront, which is converging at the point of focus. And in the case of concave mirror, the nature of wavefront obtained is again spherical wavefront, which is converging at the focus of the mirror. So these are the three cases. Okay, that's all about this part. Next we will go to the new topic, that is called interference of light. So a little bit about interference you have studied in first year. So interference means superposition. Superposition of waves we have studied in the case of beats. Okay, superposition of sound it was. So here it is interference of light. Interference light. So it is the definition is like this. It is the modification in the distribution of light energy due to the superposition of two or more light waves. Okay. So modification in the distribution of light energy means so light energy after superposing when overlap each other, light coming from different parts, and it will give some result here. So the waves, we have to treat light as a wave. Okay, so the light waves superpose, so giving destructive and constructive phenomena takes place. Constructive and destructive interference or superposition takes place, so that some region there may be light intensity disappear, at some region light intensity increased because of the superposition. So light gets redistributed. Okay, so that modification in the distribution of the light energy due to the superposition of two or more light waves, this phenomenon is called as interference of light. Then we can see some examples. Some examples like, okay, so the colors observed on the soap bubble. Soap bubble approximately spherical. When you blow soap solution, it becomes a small bubbles. So when you observe in sunlight or white light, we can see the different colors. So that colors exhibited by the soap bubble is because of the interference phenomena taking place. So light reflected from the upper portion, outer portion of the soap bubble, and reflected from the inner portion of the soap bubble only. Soap bubble not inside, just inner surface of the soap bubble. So light, okay, so light will be reflected from the upper portion and inner portion here. If I assume a small finite thickness is there for the soap bubble like this, so maybe some micrometer thickness is there. So light gets okay, so reflected from the inner portion and outer portion, from the outer layer and the inner layer of the soap bubble light gets. So this superposition results the different colors in different directions. This is one example. Another example is that when light falls on the wet roads, okay, on a monsoon season, wet roads, so we can see color pattern whenever oil pattern, so oil drops spilled on the wet roads. You can see whenever a car passes by you. So if the road is wet, the light reflected from that thin oil layer superposes, so that we get a different color pattern. Okay, so that color pattern, some zigzag shape, that is because of the interference of light.